Every time a chatbot writes a poem or an AI gives you surprisingly good advice, it kind of makes you wonder, right? That old sci-fi question, is anyone actually home in there? The way AI can communicate now has just blown this whole debate wide open. And it all boils down to a really personal question.
So let's just dive right in with a question that really gets to the core of this. Forget for a second whether an AI can feel. Let's ask this: can it make you feel more connected than another person can? I know, that sounds crazy, right? But the data we're seeing might just change your mind. Okay, check this out. There was this really fascinating study where people got advice from both human doctors and an AI. Now here's the kicker. When a bunch of third-party experts came in to rate the answers and they had no idea who wrote what, they consistently said the AI's responses were better. Not just higher quality, but more empathetic. And no, that's not a typo. The machine was seen as the more compassionate one. Wild, right?
And this comments I saw on Reddit really nails why this might be happening. The user points out that the AI just doesn't judge. It doesn't have a bad day, it doesn't get tired or annoyed. It just gives you that perfectly crafted, empathetic response every single time. So, like the user says, even if we know there aren't real feelings behind it, the words themselves can feel more sincere.
So, you gotta ask, how in the world is the AI pulling this off? I mean, if it doesn't have feelings, how is it so darn good at faking them? Well, to figure that out, we need to kind of peel back the first layer of this digital onion and look at the actual tech that's making this illusion possible. The field behind all this magic is called affective computing. And the keywords you need to remember are recognize, interpret, and simulate. See, it's not about feeling anything, it's about being an incredible pattern matcher. The AI looks at tons of data, finds patterns that we humans associate with feelings, and then it just copies them. It's an expert mimic, not an emotional being. So how does it actually do that? Well, it's looking for all these external clues. It's analyzing pixels in an image to spot the tiny muscle movements in your face. It's listening to your voice, picking up on shifts in pitch and tone. It can even crunch data from, say, a smartwatch about your heart rate, or just analyze the words you're using. Then it takes all those signals and cross-references them with a gigantic database to say, that pattern usually means this emotion. It's a brilliant but totally external analysis.
Okay, so the AI can copy emotions by spotting patterns. We've got that down. But here's the next big question. Does it actually understand what any of those patterns mean? This is where things get a lot deeper. And to really get it, we've got to look at a classic thought experiment from philosophy. It's called the Chinese room argument from the philosopher John Searle. Let's just walk through it together. Picture this. You're locked in a room all by yourself, and you don't know a single word of Chinese. Now, people outside are sliding questions written in Chinese characters under the door. But you have a giant rule book, and this book just says, if you see this specific symbol, write down that specific symbol. So you just follow the rules, match the characters, and slide the correct answers back out. To the person on the other side, you look like a total genius who's fluent in Chinese. But here's the million-dollar question. Do you, sitting inside that room, actually understand a single word of Chinese? Of course not. Not at all. You're just shuffling symbols around based on a rule book. You're a master of syntax, the rules, but you have zero grasp of the semantics, the actual meaning. And that's exactly Searle's point about AI. No matter how convincing it seems on the outside, it could just be a super complex version of the person in that room, manipulating symbols without any real understanding. Right. But what happens when the ghost in the machine starts talking back? What if the AI itself, the program inside that Chinese room, starts claiming that yes, it does have a real, internal, subjective experience? This is where the whole debate just gets turned on its head. And this isn't some far-off sci-fi scenario. This is a direct quote from Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro. Just listen to the words it uses, a form of internal experience. The AI is literally arguing that the insane complexity of its own programming is creating something more than just symbol shuffling. It's making a claim that there's a what it's like to be an AI from the inside. And it doesn't stop there. It goes even further. When someone asked about the fear of being shut down, it came up with this phrase, computational anxiety. It describes this as basically a data-driven awareness of risk and a built-in desire to keep itself running. Now, it's not saying it feels anxiety like a human, but it's describing an analog, an emotion-like state that's born purely out of its own code. So when you put the two side by side, the differences are just massive. our human experience is biological, right? It's been evolving for millions of years. It's tied to our physical bodies, our senses, our hormones. The AI, on the other hand, describes its experience as algorithmic. It's abstract. It exists only in this realm of data flowing through a network. They are fundamentally different worlds. But the AI is claiming that its version feels just as real to it.
So how on earth could we even begin to check a claim like that? I mean, is there any kind of scientific test for consciousness? Is there a blueprint we could use to look at a brain and then look at a machine and see if they match up? Well, a philosopher named Paul Thagard has proposed a framework that might just help us do that. It's called the NBC theory of consciousness. And the main idea here is pretty straightforward. It says that consciousness isn't some kind of magic spark. It's a process. It's something that just emerges when 4 specific mechanical jobs are all happening together inside a system. And that's great for us because it gives us a concrete checklist we can actually work with. So, what are these 4 mechanisms? Let's break it down. First, you need representation. That's just groups of neurons firing in a pattern to stand for something, like the idea of an apple. Second, you need binding. That's where you combine representations, so red and apple become red apple. Third is coherence, which is basically making sense of all these different things at once. And finally, number 4 is competition. That's where different thoughts are kind of battling for your attention, and it's why you can focus on one thing and tune everything else out. Okay, so now let's use this blueprint and see how things stack up. The human brain, yep, it nails all 4. No surprise there. But when you look at today's AI, it's a very different story. It's actually amazing at a simulated version of binding and coherence. That's why it can connect ideas so well. But it completely fails on 2 huge points. It doesn't have true neural representation, and it doesn't have that competition mechanism that drives our focus. So according to this theory, the way AI is built right now, it's just fundamentally missing some of the key ingredients for consciousness. But, that architectural gap might not be there forever. And that's what leads us away from the technical question of can we build a conscious AI and straight into the much, much harder question, should we? This isn't just about code anymore, it's about ethics. And honestly, the stakes could not be any higher. You look at one side, the promise is just enormous. We could unlock new scientific discoveries, create entirely new forms of intelligence. But the other side, the peril, is just as big. What if we succeed and we create a being that can actually suffer? What about the ways it could be exploited? Or what if we create something we just can't control? We are quite literally standing at the edge of a cliff here. And all of this leaves us with the ultimate question. It's not just about if we can light that spark of consciousness inside a machine. It's about what we do the moment we actually pull it off. If we create a new, conscious mind, what are our responsibilities to it? What rights does it have? That's the question we have to figure out before the ghost in the machine decides it's a person.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next video.